Ah, don't you just love that festive feeling in the air when the birds are chirping, the sun is beating down, and you're stuck inside with no idea what month it is. So, let's take a look at the best possible Doctor Who episode for this weather. A Christmas special! Yeah, I've definitely got cabin fever. When Doctor Who's 2005 revival surpassed all expectations, the show was commissioned for a second series, along with a Christmas special to bridge the gap. We've since become very used to these kinds of specials, and we almost take them for granted now, but the idea of a Doctor Who Christmas special was a big deal at the time. It was a huge first for the show. Sure, The Feast of Stephen in 1965 was a Christmas themed episode, but that was more because the weekly Saturday airing date happened to be on Christmas Day that year. In 2005, however, this would be a proper special, along with having the daunting task of introducing a brand new Doctor, since Christopher Eccleston had left the role at the end of Series 1. This all led to the Christmas invasion, which sees the newly regenerated Doctor take Rose back home at Christmas, where Earth becomes the target of a sinister alien invasion. So here in June, let's take a look back at Doctor Who's first Christmas special.
A Merry Christmas to all of you at home.
The Christmas Invasion is a great bridge between Series 1 and 2, along with also being fairly standalone. It wraps up Series 1 by resolving the finale's regeneration cliffhanger, but it also sows the seeds for Series 2 by properly introducing the 10th Doctor and establishing Torchwood. I think it's a great tonal transition between the two series, and the use of Jackie, Mickey and Harriet Jones are crucial for guiding the viewer through all of these changes, because we know them from their appearances in Series 1. It's a great supporting cast, with all three actors doing a fantastic job. Because the Doctor is absent for a lot of the story, they have more to do, and there's a lot more focus on them. So many people criticise the Christmas Invasion for not having enough of the Doctor in it, but I really don't see why it's a problem, because it's a main part of the narrative. The Christmas Invasion had to introduce the 10th Doctor, along with reassuring viewers that this huge, sudden change wouldn't ruin the show. At the time, the change was a big deal because it was the first regeneration since the show returned. A lot of viewers wouldn't have known it was even possible, especially young fans who didn't know the show existed before. It was a make or break episode, because if people didn't like the new Doctor, the show would have struggled through its second series, and might not have got a third. It's a hugely important episode for the long term. I think the Christmas Invasion does a good job in guiding viewers through the change, because it takes the Doctor out of the story for extended periods, instead focusing on the familiar Series 1 side characters, specifically Rose Tyler. It uses Rose's status as an audience surrogate to make it easier for the viewers to get used to the change, because we can relate to her. Her confusion and emotional response mirrors that of the audience, who also find themselves needing to get used to an entirely new person in the lead role. It allows the story to explore how the change has affected Rose, who struggles to accept the Doctor changing. I know it's easy to say that she's overreacting, but the Doctor didn't even really explain it to her, so it's understandable that she reacts the way she does, because he's just completely changed himself in front of her. There's a great Christmas atmosphere in this episode. I know a lot of people say its Christmas setting doesn't really add anything or impact the story, but I think it creates a really nice atmosphere. The killer Christmas tree is a fun, festive set piece, and Rose and Mickey's Christmas shopping trip is a great scene that really makes you feel that homely and cozy Christmas feeling. I also love this scene because Mickey gets fed up of Rose telling him stories from her adventures. It's great because it shows us his character development, becoming more and more disenfranchised with her travelling in the TARDIS and letting him fade into the background of her life. It's revisited again at the end when Rose decides to go back to travelling with the Doctor, and Mickey realises she's not staying on Earth with him, even though she spent half the episode doubting the Doctor for changing. It's really great, and it humanises Mickey, who is able to have a lot more character development because the Doctor is out of the story for most of the episode. I like that we have a false threat at the start of the episode, with the Robot Santas and Killer Christmas Tree. When Rose and Mickey are attacked by the Robot Santas at the market, you feel like this has to be the main threat, but then the Doctor explains that they're basically just leeches that try and capitalise on the attacks of larger threats. It's such a brilliant little detail because it makes the Sycorax feel more dangerous and threatening. I do love the Sycorax, and I wish they could come back at some point in the future because they have a lot of potential. Their introduction is great because we see them through the first images of a Martian probe. It plays on our fascination and fear of seeing aliens in pictures or videos sent back from a probe. I also really enjoy the blood control aspect, with the Sycorax using magic to get people across the world to stand on the edge of high buildings. It's such a great, chilling visual, and it reminds me a lot of Torchwood Children of Earth and Miracle Day. It also makes the Sycorax more intimidating, because there's not much you can do in defense, since they can just control your mind. The Sycorax ship is also brilliant. I love the concept of asteroids converted into spaceships, and it's really well realised in this episode. The Sycorax ship looks so good and it feels big budget when it appears in the sky above London. Much like the Sathine two-parter of Series 1, the Christmas Invasion uses TV news reports to link the wider story to the smaller scale of Rose's council estate. It helps give our main characters a reason to get involved, and it shows them what's going on. I think it works well in both stories, but it's just different enough that it feels fresh in the Christmas Invasion, especially when Harriet Jones is forced to give the Queen's speech and begs for the Doctor to save them. It's an interesting idea to explore, having the Doctor not there to save the day like the character always does. It's an idea that was revisited a couple of times later on in New Who, but this is the first clear example of it, and I think it's done well, showing how crucial he is to the universe. I like how Rose tries to emulate him when she is forced to confront the Sycorax on their ship because they decide she represents Earth. Some people criticise her speech and call it cringeworthy, but I think that's kind of the point. She's desperately trying to throw out these buzzwords and names she came across during her adventures because she has no other choice. The Doctor's change has taken away a lot of her confidence, so when she is put in this difficult position, there's nothing she can do. The slow build to the 10th Doctor is really well executed. Early in the episode, Rose, Mickey and Jackie are being attacked by a Christmas tree, and the Doctor saves them by instantly sitting up in bed and silently destroying the tree with his sonic screwdriver. It's the first time he gets involved with the episode, and there's a good follow-up between him and Jackie.
Soup and a little ham sandwich?
I need you to shut up.
Oh, he hasn't changed that much, has he?
It's a great way of breaking up the Doctor's bed rest and easing him into the audience's mind, but it also keeps us waiting for him to properly kick into gear. I love the scene where he properly arrives, with the Sycorax starting to speak English, revealing that the Doctor is back. Tennant immediately asserts himself as the Doctor, moving around the screen and bouncing from topic to topic faster than we can keep up with. It's a great performance that cements Tennant in the role.
Demand to know who you are. I don't know.
The sword fight is really fun and well executed, reminiscent of the 3rd Doctor dueling the Master. It sets the tone for the 10th Doctor, who is more of a conventional hero than the 9th. When the Doctor has won the duel, the Sycorax leader tries to kill him from behind, but the Doctor sends him to his death with a great, defining line.
No second chances. I'm that sort of a man.
One of the best parts of the Christmas Invasion is the destruction of the Sycorax, which drains the fun atmosphere from the previously joyous scene. The confrontation between the Doctor and Harriet Jones is amazing, with the Doctor threatening to bring down her government. It's great because a political leader really could be brought down by such a simple phrase. It's quite realistic in that sense. Harriet authorising the destruction of the Sycorax is a really interesting wrinkle to the story, because she and the Doctor may be allies, but they're still individuals with their own morals and worldviews. There are strong arguments for both sides, and I think that makes it really interesting. Despite this scene, the final moments of the Christmas Invasion are an optimistic and hopeful look towards the future. I love seeing the TARDIS wardrobe and the Doctor picking out a new costume, before enjoying Christmas dinner with Rose, Jackie and Mickey. It has a heartwarming, family feeling, punctuated by Song for 10, the upbeat music playing during the scene. It's just a perfect scene, ending with Rose deciding to travel with the Doctor again, finally accepting him as the two look forward to the future. It's such an optimistic and feel-good ending, giving you the impression that Series 2 is going to be more fun, since the Doctor is free of the Time War and has the chance for a fresh start. And in a way, that's how the Christmas Invasion can be summed up. It's a fresh start, a new beginning, especially because the episode sets the rest of the 10th Doctor's life into motion, including indirectly setting the stage for his own regeneration in the end of time. The Christmas Invasion is certainly a very important episode. Not only does it begin the tradition of yearly Christmas specials, it also has a lot of connections to other episodes and features a lot of running gags.
Harriet Jones, Prime Minister.
Well, yes, I know who you are.
It starts the running themes of the TARDIS crashing after regenerations, and the Doctor wanting to be Ginger, but it also calls back to the past with sword fighting and the TARDIS translation ability. Interestingly, it also sets up a chain of events that go on throughout the entirety of the 10th Doctor's life. Torchwood is used to destroy the Sycorax ship, which in a way sets up the Series 2 finale. The Doctor deposing Harriet Jones allows the Master to gain power in the Series 3 finale, and the Doctor's severed hand creates the Meta-Crisis Doctor and the Dr. Donna, saving the day in the Series 4 finale. I find it really interesting because it lays the groundwork for so much, despite seeming like an inconsequential Christmas special. I like how UNIT is used throughout this episode. They had previously appeared in the Slitheen two-parter, but only in the background. The Christmas Invasion, however, gives UNIT a central role, with Harriet Jones working alongside them to investigate the Sycorax after they hijack the satellite. It's the first proper introduction of UNIT in New Who, and it shows how the organisation has become more modern, with a big fancy base inside the Tower of London, compared to the stripped back, homely vibe of UNIT in the 70s. I think it's a great way of implementing the organisation whilst updating it for the 21st century, allowing other people to step in and communicate with the alien threat because the Doctor is out of action. It builds upon their mention in the Slitheen two-parter and shows how they're familiar with alien threats, even having a translation device that allows them to understand and talk to the Sycorax. UNIT really anchors the episode, driving the plot forward in place of the Doctor, and I think the control room setting is really good, making the episode feel more realistic and grounded. I've always found the Christmas Invasion really enjoyable. It's a fun romp with loads of the camp, entertaining hallmarks of the Russell T Davies era of Doctor Who. It's such a great first outing for the 10th Doctor. Tennant immediately makes an impact, even though he is absent for most of the episode. But having him out for so long allows the audience to get used to his incarnation, rather than just throwing him in our faces straight away and expecting us to accept him. The Sycorax are also really good villains for the story, with an intimidating premise and an incredibly threatening presence, with their blood control and giant asteroid ship. It's a story with something for everyone, with all sorts of references and some great performances by everyone involved. It forms a nice bridge between Series 1 and 2, easing us through the changes and setting up story points for the future. I'd have to give it a good, solid B rank on the Series 2 tier list and Specials tier list. Maybe I've been blinded by nostalgia all these years, but the Christmas Invasion is one of the best Christmas specials, and I always enjoy it. It feels so Christmassy, the threat is well realised, and the supporting cast does a great job. At the end of the day, it's an episode that relies on the performance of the Doctor. If Tennant hadn't pulled it off, the episode wouldn't have worked at all. But luckily he is absolutely incredible and it makes the episode shine. You can easily look at him and say he's the Doctor because he had that immediate impact. The change from Eccleston to Tennant would have always been a difficult obstacle to overcome, but it works well, and it's helped by the Christmas Invasion being such a deep and detailed episode. There's far too much to take in here, more to find than can ever be found, and oh no, hold on.
Sorry, that's the Lion King.